5-1 is mid-segments of triangles. The beauty of a mid-segment is it is exactly what it sounds like, a middle point and a middle point that makes a segment, a mid-segment. So basically a mid-segment of a triangle is this. You have a midpoint of this side over here. Okay, that would be point A. You have a midpoint of this side over here. That's what these markings are telling us, right? These are congruent, those are congruent. The mid-segment then is segment AB. So we would say AB is a mid-segment of the triangle. Same is true for AC. You have a midpoint at A and a midpoint at C. So AC is also a mid-segment. And then the same thing is true of, which one? BC, yeah. You have a midpoint at B and a midpoint at C, and when you connect those, you get a mid-segment. So I'm going to tell you about mid-segments and what they entail. And then there's a few things to know about them. So mid-segment of a triangle is a segment that joins the midpoints of two sides of the triangle. Okay, so that's what I just showed you with AB, AC, and BC. But then what you're really going to do with mid-segments are these two properties. Okay, there are two properties that go along with this. It's called the triangle mid-segment theorem. And the triangle mid-segment theorem says that your mid-segment is parallel to the third side. Okay, so for instance, if we look at our picture up top, it's saying basically that AC, okay, segment AC is parallel to segment XZ. Okay, so AC is parallel to XZ. BC then is parallel to what? To XY. And then the third one, AB, is parallel to YZ. Okay, so if we truly have a mid-segment, then those lines will always be parallel. Okay, so you will get parallel lines. And then the other part, and this is the part that we probably deal with more, the thing that we're going to use a lot in this section, it says its length. So the length of a mid-segment is half the length of the third side. So the two sides that are parallel, the one is half the length of the other. For instance, we would say that AC is half of XZ. Okay, if we cut XZ in half, we would get the length of AC. And you can do that for all three sets of mid-segments in a triangle. Okay, so the length of the mid-segment will always be half of the side across from it, the parallel side to it. Okay, so let's just take a look at a problem and see if you can tell me the lengths of all of these things. So first of all, it tells you that JK is 10. Okay, so JK is here. This length is 10. It tells you that DE is 6.5. So this length here is 6.5. And it tells you that EL, so this length right here, EL, is 3.7. Okay, so let's say that's all we know in this triangle, but notice your markings. This is mid-segments because they have all the pieces that are marked congruent. What would the length of KD be?
5.
KD would be 5. If the whole thing is 10, and these are marked congruent, then it has to be 5 and 5. So KD has a length of 5. What's DJ? 5. Okay. Okay, so to find DF, forget about DF for a second. What's JE? 3.7. Okay, so if this whole length right here is 7.4, if we add those together, DF is half of that. So what do you notice? What is DF then? 3.7. So this piece and this piece are the same as DF, right? If you take the whole thing, 7.4, and you cut it in half, you get 3.7. Do you see that? Okay, so JL we already said was 7.4. Yeah, John.
So does that mean FU would be 5?
FU?
Oh, FE.
Oh, I was like, excuse me? Yes, FE is 5. Phew. I thought you were trying to swear at me there. Yes, FE, this length here, is going to be the same as each of these pieces. The whole thing is 10, so the piece, the half of it, is 5. Yeah. What's KF? 6.5. And then FL would be the same thing, 6.5. Okay? Yeah, John.
So are they all just mini triangles?
You do have a bunch of mini triangles, yep,
They're all the same size.
that are all the same size.
Oh,
Pretty cool, huh?
pretty cool.
Yeah, 4 congruent triangles right there. Questions on that? Okay, so what you're going to end up doing with that gets a little bit fancier, but not terribly. If they just give you, in this case, one mid-segment, okay, so the markings matter, right? These markings and these markings, that's what's telling us that 54 is the mid-segment, okay? If this is 54 and this is 3n, how can we solve for n? Any thoughts? Yeah.
54 times 2?
Yeah. If you take that 54, if 54 has to be half of 3n, then 3n has to be double 54, right? This length right here, this 3n, is going to be double our mid-segment. So 3n is going to equal 108, and then you would divide by 3, and n comes out to 36. Okay, now here's your other option. If you don't like to look at it that way, where you double the mid-segment, you could do what with the other side? What can we do to this side to set it equal to 54? What's the relationship between this 3n and this 54? 3n is twice as much, so 54 is half as much, right? So you can either cut the big one in half and solve that, or you can double the small one and set it equal to this piece. Just make sure you don't do both. Don't double the one and cut the other one in half, okay? You have to think about what is the relationship between them. Either double the one or cut the other one in half. Okay, so look at letter B here. You have n minus 9 for your mid-segment. You have 46 for the side across from it. What would you do? You have two options. Double? Did someone say double? Mm-hmm. What would you double?
49.
Okay, not the 46. Think about it this way. If this is 46 and I double it, that's this segment. That's not equal to n minus 9, right? What do we need to double if we're going to double something? The n minus 9. So your options are this. You can either double n minus 9, but make sure you put parentheses around it then, and that will equal 46. Or what could you do to the 46? You could cut it in half, okay? So you can either do that, or you can say n minus 9 is going to equal half of 46. You will get the same answer. I don't care which one you do. It's all about what makes sense to you. So whichever way makes more sense to you, do it that way. Just out of curiosity, who likes the green way? Who likes the red way? Okay, so it's a mix. I will solve them both just so you can see it. So this would be 2n minus 18 equals 46. Add the 18. So 2n equals 64. And then divide by 2. So n is 32. Okay, so there's one option. If you do it the other way, it's n minus 9 equals 23, and you add 9, and you get n equals 32. Same answer, okay? Use the one that makes more sense to you. Questions on that? Okay. This one says, example 3 here, in the house's roof, as shown below, find the height of x of the support. So we're looking for this length right here. They're telling us this length is 3 feet. It's a lot of lines going on there. Do you see what x should be?
Half of 3.
It's half of 3. Yeah, that is a midsegment. X is a midsegment. Basically what you're doing right now, guys, is you're just completely ignoring that, and you're looking at this as your triangle. If that's my triangle, this is a midpoint, and this is a midpoint, making this a midsegment. The side parallel to it is the 3, right? So x is half of 3, which means x would be 1.5 feet. Excuse me. Okay, there's 4 examples here that are very similar. We're not going to do all 4, but I just put 4 there for you to try some of them if you want. I'm going to do 2 of them with you. If you want to do the other 2, you're welcome to try those later, but we're not going to do all 4 right now. Let's start with this letter A. What's one way that you could set this one up? Double the 5. You could double the 5, okay? And just stop and think about it, right? If you said double the 2n minus 16, that means this line is now this long. That is not the same as 5, right? Instead, if you double your 5, it's going to be as long as what we have. So you're going to say 2n minus 16 equals double our 5. So 2n minus 16 equals 10. Add the 16, and you get 2n equals 26. Divide by 2, so n is 13. Any thoughts on how you could check your answer on these? If we plug it in, 2 times 13 is 26. 26 minus 16 is 10. Does that make sense in this problem? Yeah, because 5 is half of 10, right? So you can always go back and check it like that, plug it in, and see, do your 2 segments make sense? Is one half of the other? Okay. Do you want to pick B, C, or D? I don't care which one we do. D? All right, so letter D here. What are you going to do? You can cut something in half, or you can double something, but make sure it's the right something. Which would you prefer? Double what? You have to double the 3n. So if you're going to double, it's got to be the midsegment that gets doubled. So it would be 8n minus 12 equals 2 times 3n, right? Double your 3n. So 8n minus 12 equals 6n. And then just simplify from there. Do you want to subtract 6n or 8n? I don't care. Okay, so if we take away the 6n, you get 2n. We're going to add the 12 to move the 12 over to the other side. So this is gone, that's gone. You get 2n equals 12. Divide by 2. So n is 6. Okay, and again, if you plug that in, 3 times 6 is 18. That means this should equal 36. Well, 8 times 6 is 48, and 48 minus 12 is 36. So we know it makes sense because when we plug it in, it makes sense. Okay? Okay, last question on this first one. And this one requires some thought. Okay? It says, Dean wants to swim across the lake. How far will he swim? Okay? See ya, Abby. So we want to know how far is it from here to here. There is no ruler or yardstick that's going to reach across a lake and let you measure the distance across very easily. There is, however, a way that you could do it on dry land. Any thoughts? Think about a mid-segment. Anyone see a way that you could potentially measure the distance across that lake? Maybe you make a triangle somewhere and a mid-segment so that you're on dry land.
Make a triangle around lake.
Yeah, I wouldn't say necessarily around. Oh, are you saying the lake is your mid-segment?
You can use that as one.
You could. I would use that as my other side. Yeah.
You could go on each side and like kind of get an equal half, I guess, and make a point at one spot. You can measure that.
Okay. Yes. That's essentially what we're going to do. I'm not going to make them equal because that would be a lot of work and guessing and checking as you're trying to. Here's what I would do. Okay. If I'm here, I'm standing at the edge of the lake. If I walk this way, we're going to say it takes 35 paces for me to get to a point where I'm past the lake. Okay. So I walked 35 paces here. If I walk 35 more and put a stake in the ground, what is this point? It's a midpoint. Something weird going on with my tooth all of a sudden.
You okay?
Yep, I'm good. I just feel like all of a sudden I don't know, that was weird. Okay, anyway, so 35 and 35, that is a midpoint, okay? So we'll eventually be able to put a mid-segment across here, but we don't have the information to do that yet. So what you could do is if you walked straight to the other point, I made it to, we had to walk through the lake. I didn't go far enough. Pretend we went a little farther. If I figure out how many steps it took me to go here, okay, let's say it took me 236 steps to go from this point up here to the point on the other side of the lake. Where do I have to go next? What else do I need to find?
Total steps.
We have our total number of steps to here, 236. Yeah, John.
See how many midpoints across.
The midpoint, yeah. Oh, yes, but we have to get the midpoint first to get the mid-segment across. So we're going to walk back now. If this was 236, cut that in half. We're going to walk back 118 paces. So 118 would put you here. 118 and 118. Okay, so now if I just walk this off, that's a mid-segment, right? You have a midpoint on this side, you have a midpoint on the other side. Let's say I walked that off and it was 128 paces. Then how many paces would it be across the lake? What do you do to that 128?
256.
256. You're going to double it, right? If I double 128, I get 256. So that means it would be 256 paces across the lake, which we're not going to pace it off, right? Because you can't walk on water. We're not Jesus. But let's just say a normal pace is like 3 feet. Okay. So if we were really walking this off 35 paces, 118, all of those, if you just did 256 times 3, we would say that's approximately 768 feet that he swam across the lake. You could do that in real life with all kinds of things. If you ever had to measure something that you couldn't actually go across it, that's how you could measure something. Isn't that fantastic? Don't you love math? I love math. Questions on that?